Well, hello, folks out there in YouTube land. Got a big show lined up for you. Let's get right on into it. All right, let's pull up that screen. Cardano. It has delayed the Vasil hard fork. I believe my understanding is by 30 days into July. And also Charles Hoskinson has been invited to speak to Congress. So a lot going on with Cardano. Let's get into that. So there's been rumors that the Vasil hard fork might be delayed for a little while. Said recent reports from insiders have stated that Cardano's highly anticipated Vasil hard fork is not ready and is likely to be postponed by a little bit. The Vasil hard fork in theory is an upgrade that will boost the smart contract capabilities of Cardano and the blockchain smart contract platform Plutus. So the rumor was first squashed by OG, but we just heard from Charles that there will be a delay. So here, Charles speaks to this.
And it says, on Friday, the core input-output global team working towards the Vasil upgrade held its regular end-of-the-week evaluation call. Today, Monday, June 20th, was the latest date that we could facilitate a Cardano testnet upgrade before the next epoch boundary. So we agreed to reevaluate the latest status this afternoon, taking into account the work of our engineers did over the weekend. The IOG engineering team is extremely close to finalizing the core work, with just 7 bugs still outstanding to complete the hard fork work, with none ranked as severe. After some consideration, we agreed not to send the hard fork update proposal to testnet today to allow more time for testing. To date, we've managed to get through the majority, 95% of our Plutus v2 test scripts. And actually, there's a little link there to the test script repository. You can see all the scripts here being done real time. All that stuff. However, we still have a few outstanding items that need to run to confirm everything is working as expected. We have determined we'll need a few more days for this. This puts us behind schedule on our previously communicated target date of June 29th. Since the start of June, we've successfully running an early build of the new node, which includes diffusion pipelining and the new Plutus v2 CIPs, among other enhancements, as a semi-public Vasil development DevNet. We now have some 35 developers across 27 projects testing their dApps and helping identify any issues, along with 16 stake pool operators supporting. We've also been working closely with some of the leading tool providers, including BlockFrost, Cardano Serialization Library, the Cardano Multi-Platform Library. We want to call out the work of MLabs and dQuadrant in particular for providing great support throughout the process. This developer testnet stage puts us in a good position when it comes to Plutus code compatibility and functionality. This valuable work will continue on this development testnet over the next few weeks. The work on Vasil has been the most complex program of development integration to date from several angles. It's a challenging process that requires not only significant work from core teams, but also close coordination across the ecosystem. The final decision to hard fork the Cardano testnet will be made in consultation with members of the SPO and dApp community against 3 criteria. No critical issues outstanding on the node or our internal audit function. Benchmarking performance cost analysis is acceptable, and community, including exchanges dApp projects, have been properly informed and has had sufficient time to prepare the hard fork combinator event. The project continues to track well against these criteria. Once we can comfortably and confidently tick all boxes, we can move forward, and the hard fork of the Cardano testnet, marking the final countdown to the mainnet hard fork. Cardano Foundation integration team leads this process and typically aims to give exchanges 4 weeks to finish their own integrations and updates. The Pareto principle tends to be following here, achieving 80% exchange compliance by liquidity before a mainnet hard fork, thus minimizing inconvenience for users while recognizing different exchanges can work on different timelines, not to name names. Today, IOG and the Cardano Foundation have agreed a new target date to hard fork the testnet at the end of June. Once completed, we will allow 4 weeks for exchanges and SPOs to carry out any required integration and testing work. This is only reasonable and should not be rushed. The work assumption should therefore now be a Cardano mainnet hard fork occurring during the last week of July. We recognize that this news will be disappointing to some. However, we are taking an abundance of caution to ensure that we do this deployment correctly. As we have consistently communicated, the most important and most in the community recognizes no timelines can be absolute software development. Quality and security must remain paramount. If more time is needed to get core code right, ensure all ecosystem players are fully comfortable, so be it. Giving the process longer is the only responsible thing to do. The IOG and Cardano Foundation teams will continue to work closely with the developer community and exchanges as we draw closer to the Vasil hard fork on mainnet and to keep the updates to the community coming. Thank you all for your support. Okay, so that's the statement that just came out, and I figured I'd add a video to add some of my own comments to it as well. We're pretty close to the target. We're code complete. And what code complete effectively means is you probably could flip the switch and get away with it. And certain projects would do that. But what happened after the collapse of Terra Luna is that I gave a directive to a lot of the engineers to say we should probably measure 3 times and cut once, given the nature of things. And so additional tests were added in the Plutus suite, and additional work was done for QA above and beyond what we normally do for HARDFORK. So that was one dimension of the puzzle that made it more complicated. The other dimension of the puzzle was that after consensus, we did have an enormous amount of contact with dApp developers and other people, and there was a desire to be a bit more inclusive in the QA process and the testing process. So a lot of them said, hey, we need several weeks on testnet to be able to play around with these things. And at the end of the day, this is not a hard fork for the average Cardano user. The Vasil hard fork has always been a hard fork specifically for dApp developers. It speeds up the transaction rate with pipelining, and then all the SIPs are basically there to make Plutus smart contracts easier to write. If you're a developer, whether you're doing it on the mainnet or the testnet, you should have the same development environment in that respect. So what's more meaningful to the community, frankly, is making sure that the testnet runs Vasil, so that people who are building dApps on Cardano can deploy those dApps. And you'll notice something that's still on schedule for, it appears to be a June hard fork. So we don't anticipate that this July date is going to in any way impact the actual rollout of all the dApps that have been waiting for Vasil, because now they have a testing environment to do that. The foundation always requests at least 3 to 4 weeks of time for exchanges and other infrastructure. And one of the things that happened when we were looking at the infrastructure audit, the amount of community programs, the community projects that are plugging into Cardano are very significant. In fact, much, much more so than when Alonzo came out in September, which we did hit the date of. So it's a little disappointing at times that things sometimes take a little bit more time, but now we've gotten to a point where the project complexity and the amount of integrations and third-party things that have to work well and not break is pretty significant. And this is significant because we're...
All right, so there you heard it from Charles Hoskinson. I don't have any problem with this at all, given everything that's happened with the stablecoin destruction and just really, man, I'm telling you, this cryptocurrency's been in a bad way, and the last thing you need for Cardano, after all that hard work, years and years and years, to have a little glitch at the absolute worst possible time. So to take an extra 30 days, I have no issue with that at all. As a matter of fact, that bothers me so little that I actually dollar cost average today after I heard the news, because I was like, that makes sense to me. Because I've been a little concerned about it. It's like, man, the last thing they need right now is a little problem of any kind, because the media will blow it up, and there's plenty of haters out there that would go, oh, see, they're just like everybody, and they'd be going crazy. And, you know, to test this thing out, look at the dApps that are getting ready to be on Cardano, waiting for this Vasil hard fork. 1,017, okay? So there are over 1,000 projects building on Cardano, and the ecosystem continues to grow. Last time I covered this, there was 600. Okay, that was not long ago. That's 1,000 plus projects that believe in Cardano, blockchain, and its community. Let's take a look at why some of these projects are choosing Cardano in their own words, and it goes down and talks about how much they like Cardano. One other big update Charles just put out. I just received a formal invitation to speak before the U.S. House of Representatives Committee on Agriculture about blockchain and cryptocurrencies. It will be live June 23rd at 10:30 a.m. if anybody wants to watch it over YouTube. And that just kind of gives you an idea of the clout that he carries. Look, they're not going to bring in some damn clown to talk to the Congress about freaking cryptocurrency. They're going to bring in one of the big dogs. And who is a big dog but Charles Hoskinson? Look, he was a co-founder in Ethereum. Gave a class on Bitcoin at Colorado University. You know, this guy's no joke, and they're bringing him in to speak to this, and I think that's great for Cardano. That's just my opinion. And Cardano, like a lot of cryptocurrencies, has really had a tough time. It's pulled all the way down. It's gotten as low as 38 cents. It's sitting at 49. I actually bought some at 49, and I've bought a little bit through here, dollar cost averaging. I'm fine with it. I love Cardano long term. I think it's the real deal. I like the fact they've been the tortoise instead of the hare, and the proof of stake and the Cardano Foundation and all the things that they're doing with IOHK, which is now IOG. And I'm very comfortable with Cardano. Now, cryptocurrencies in general right now are on the outs, and I understand that. But that makes, for me, a good time to buy. But that's, that's what I'm doing. It's your money. You do as you please. But I like this announcement. I know it's a little disappointing, but not really in the long run. So anyway. All right, folks, and that's Cardano today. That is big news. That's actually two big pieces of news. One, he's going to Congress, and the other is the Vasil hard fork, a delay for a month. Not a big deal to me, but you make your own judgments. And I hope you like this content. If you do, hit the like button. If you haven't subscribed, hit the subscribe button. I'd appreciate it. And we'll see you next time on Mr. Frugal Investor.